this is probably what a lot of you are doing tonight, driving and honking and looking around. Punching through your window.
And this is me walking to Wednesday night off.
Yeah, so congratulations to those of you who made it. We had a pretty small class because of the epic traffic today. We focused on figures. Our plan is to continue on social dance figures. Oh, this is level 3. Week 3. Hey.
Wednesday night off. That's right. Yes. This is Paul.
Back to driving. No, so today was a little bit of an unusual class. Our goal was to focus on social dancing applications of our connections that we've been building up. We did so in a limited scope so that the leads could follow today since we had an imbalance.
Yep.
So we'll start with the basics. So we talked about using the momentum that we had from last time into 3 different swing outs.
Right. This is number 1. 1, 2. This is number 2. 1, 2. This is number 3. 1, 2. Okay. So I intentionally just counted at 1 and 2 because that's where we focused on, which is the different type of 1, 2 that the leads can lead the following to.
So the first one is staying stationary on 1, 2. Leads, we already practiced being quiet or giving no force with our hands to the follow, and the follows will follow. If we do the same thing on the end of a swing out, the follow should be stationary on their 1, 2 step. Likewise, if we give a rock step, the follows will step back with a rock step. This relies on me explicitly doing following the follow far enough that we have space to create this rock step. If we're too far apart, I cannot push the follow anymore to give the rock step.
Correct.
So here's first version in place. 7, 8, nothing.
In place.
And a triple step. We'll talk about that in a second. Then the rock step, triple step. So that was the second version.
Yep.
And the third one was just pulling backwards. We did that as well as we were walking. Previously, we were doing moves like this. And that's exactly what we're doing here with the end of a swing out. We're going 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. And we're doing that pull. The stationary one's tricky.
Yeah, so we also talked about follows should not always default 1, 2 to any kind of move because you don't know what your lead's gonna lead you into. So please rely on the signal and the connection and the pressure that your leads give you on 1, 2, literally just from this hand.
Either pushing
back
rock step,
or pulling, or stationary. When stationary, we can do swivel. We can just hang out here. Doesn't really matter. So that's what the follows needs to do, which is again, don't anticipate, don't think that something you plan to do that's going to happen for 1 and 2.
Now, in terms of momentum, if we have either the forward swing out, forward on 1, 2, or the rock step 1, 2, we have momentum apart or together. But if we're stationary, we don't really have a spring bringing us together. We talked a lot in the class about the and triple step, where your body goes up. And that's where we use tension and the and signaling to show this level change. And so the follow can know, oh, we're actually going to do a triple step now and not just stand still. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nothing
1, 2,
and a triple step. 5, 6. That was a little exaggeration so you could see it on camera.
Right. Another important thing is this is actually after the class that some of the students had the question, and we thought it's probably good to mention, which is especially for this move, for the lead when you're doing 3 and 4, you don't have to go too far away around the follow.
1, 2, and you do not have to orbit around like this.
Yeah. So try to keep it tight. So if we try to show from maybe this side, yeah. 1, 2,
and skim
3.
on by.
Yep. And also on the end and 3, you pull your follows in. That's also crucial. 3.
Absorbing in here.
Yep. All right.
Allows us to close the distance. All right, so 3 types of swing outs. They're all a little bit tricky. Next, we also did the inside of a swing out. So we did a little variation, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Let's show that from another side. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, 7, and 8, 1, and 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we call these our lowdowns.
Yep. I think the timing is something that a lot of the leads felt that it's very tricky. Like, at what point do you start the move, and how do you start the move?
So you're on 3 and 4. Normally on a swing out, you step out 5 to the side that you're going to go in if you're doing a backwards or sideways swing out. In this case, we are using that sideways step to do a little hop and tilt. And we did this independently, so you show from one side. Replace the foot and sink down. So the weight is on the foot that is under us.
And also the body really tilts. There's the line. Instead of just doing this. This is not what we are doing. So we are doing really a line. Yeah.
So if we have a good firm grip around the follows, back and waist, and we use this other hand for stability, however you want to hold it. As we tilt our body, the follows will follow. So then we just stepped onto that foot, used our weight shift to position the proper foot under us. This is going into the closed position connection now. We've done a lot of open position the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
Okay, and then we got out of it with a rock step. You can review the video on how we got out of it.
Yeah. And then I think we talked about the side-by-side walk.
Going on theme with the side-by-side.
Yeah.
I'll talk about that.
Yep. So the connection here, what is really important is that the follow really needs to feel the lead is pulling her in and pushing her out. And sorry, we're exaggerating here, but basically for me, I feel the pulling in is from here. It's a pull, not a turn. So it's pulling in and then pushing out. I feel it from this side is this way. Yeah, so I need to feel the pull and push. And I think for Paul, he said that the pull is using
a little cup of the hands.
Right.
So if I'm standing side by side, I'm slightly in front. This allows me to create this cradle from the top, allowing this surface pushing, versus if Angela was in front, then I would have a really hard time finding a surface that I could push against. Okay, so I'm slightly in front, and then we did this little push, weight shift, so we just shifted our weight on both sides, just using our hands. Okay, we talked about distance. If we're too far apart, we can't actually pull apart anymore.
Right.
If we're too close together, we can't actually pull together anymore.
Right.
The right distance is where you can do this kind of shifting here, side by side. And then we just walked like we normally walked, and then we gave pushes out and pulls in. And if we do opposite feet, it allows us to do this kind of a backward stepping.
And at this point, it's also very crucial to have a very good and solid connection. Pressure against for the follows to have pressure against the lead's arm. So that's
what we do.
Another thing.
Yep. Thank you again for braving the traffic. We're going to continue next week with more social dance figures, finishing up our connection series.
Yes. All right. See you next week.
Bye-bye.